everyone. Welcome to Star Oracle. Thanks for choosing to hang out with me today for this reading. Today we're going to be looking at how are your emotions a superpower. And we're looking at it through the lens of Moon and Pluto. And so we just had our Scorpio full moon yesterday. So the energy I thought was like ripe for this moment of looking at it, because that full moon was actually squaring Pluto in the sky, Pluto in Aquarius at this time. So the energy of that definitely came through. I actually already recorded the readings, and I felt really called just to do 2 piles today because I wanted this to be a little bit longer and getting way more in depth. And also it just felt like there were 2 main collectives that needed messages at this time. I'm not going to say very much about this combination. I think that came through in each of the readings. It's a very deep, complex, like sensitive, tender combination. I think you know, the moon being our emotions, being our physical body, being our childhood, all of these things coming together with Pluto, which is this like such intense, powerful energy. So I'm excited to share this reading with y'all. I feel like what came through in each pile was very meaningful and deep, and I hope that it offers some support and just extra love and guidance right now for you from the moon and from Pluto. So the 2 piles we have are, we've got the emerald here, for pile 1, and then for pile 2 we have this teardrop labradorite. So let me see if I can get the flash on it. Yeah, such a beautiful slice of labradorite. So feel free to choose whichever pile is kind of calling you or you feel most resonance with right now, or feel free to choose both. I think, you know, they are very different, and it could also just be like different parts of the journey. So, you know, all my readings, I'm pulling through my own, you know, my own knowledge, the things I've learned over time, and kind of imparting that through everything that I do. So if you are feeling called to both, there might just be messages or information that wants to come through for you. So feel free to do that too. I thank you again for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in your reading. All right, y'all. I'll see you shortly. Bye. Hello, group 1. Y'all chose the emerald, the raw emerald here. Just set this aside. Today we're looking at how are your emotions a superpower, and this is reflective of the archetypes of the moon and Pluto coming together. So we just had a full moon in Scorpio yesterday after I'm filming, or as I'm filming this, it was yesterday. And that full moon was square to Pluto in the sky. And it felt like we are, right now the moon is still in Scorpio. It's a good time to dive into this combination. So I just want to get into it. I pre-shuffled a bunch of cards, and I'm only doing 2 piles today because it felt like there were going to be 2 main collectives, and I wanted these to be a little bit more in depth. So I'm going through first the questions. These are the pre-shuffled cards for what's your relationship to your emotions at this time, what's transforming in your emotional body, and then what does your emotional body actually need from you at this time. And then we'll get into that. I'll do shuffling for the what superpower are your emotions offering you. So yeah, let's just get into it. So we have, for the first question of what's your relationship to your emotions, we have the You're Just a Bee Charmer card. Let's see. We have make peace, integration, and the Six of Vessels, which is the Six of Cups, and the Kindred, which is the Empress in this deck. Okay, so we'll just leave these. Talk about this first. Let me make sure. So it seems like you're at a place where you do recognize a necessity of holding kind of a loving distance from your emotional body, where you can offer presence to yourself, and really like a depth of compassion here, like the Empress coming through. Like there's a lot of, I feel like a lot of growth that you've already been through, especially with the integration card, which it's, this is a process that we continue to learn and grow over time. So whether you're like at a place where you feel like you've integrated a lot, in terms of having a great capacity for holding really powerful and deep emotions, or if you're on that journey, I think this is just pointing to the growth that has already occurred there. And the Six of Vessels is this kind of nostalgic energy coming through, and kind of a recognition of, yeah, like you've been on a long journey with your emotional body, and you have like a lot that you've carried and maybe you still carry with you from the past, in terms of what you're holding perhaps physically in your body, like memory or just stuck energy in the body. Although I'm not necessarily getting it as feeling of stuckness. It's more just like there's an honoring, there's a knowing of it there, and a kind of reverence or something to that, and to where you came from and maybe where you are now. And the You're Just a Bee Charmer card is my card of like, you're able to manage that, like the things coming at you, the bees, right? Like without getting stung, like you're able to actually move through life in a way that you can have the sweetness while dealing with the difficulties, because you kind of know how to manage it with a lot of grace. And so that's really, like, this just feels so positive of how you are currently like handling, or you're like, this is just about your relationship, right, to your emotional life. And so it feels like you're in a really good place, if I'm being honest, like where there's a lot of depth of emotion. There's just been like a lot of history of you working through things and coming to a place of a lot of power. The Pluto Moon combination, it's a lot of drama at first, before we understand how to properly hold and move through our emotions. And the moon is also our family. It's our like most intimate people in our lives. It holds also the mother archetype in our lives, or feminine figures, the moon. And so sometimes that can mean, like with Pluto coming through, the more difficult, challenging parts of Pluto can be like controlling, manipulative, or power grabs, these sorts of things. And I just feel like whatever you've had to work with in the past. Like it seems like you've moved towards the more empowered version of this archetype, where there is this like ability to look at the past, but not in a way that it is totally like knocking you off of the course of your own growth and of your own just movement in general. And like you've come to a place of having a sense of peace, or like greater peace, when it comes to your emotional body and letting it move through you. So maybe you're just checking out this reading today because you were curious to see the superpower question, which we'll get to, of how this is like actually supporting that. And but let's get into the next question, which was what's transforming in your emotional life and in your emotional body for you right now. Okay, so we have the schizophrenia card coming out from the Osho deck. And to me, in terms of what's transforming here, it's really this integration again. So whether you feel this, maybe this is, this could be something that you are hoping for too in your emotional life. Like maybe you're not completely there yet, but with this coming out in terms of what's transforming, this is the Two of Swords in this deck. And it's really the way that our mind can get into these very black and white thinking states, and the only thing kind of to do is to learn how to let go of both, right? Like we have to find a way to make peace with these opposing forces and find our way towards more integration. And I think this is telling me you are finding ways to transform this state into one where you can open to curiosity and open to these places where you're just asking like, where you're able to see multiple perspectives at once and hold compassion for all of it at the same time, and holding kind of non-judgment. So it's coming more into a place of very radical non-judgment, no matter how like deep and intense and just overwhelming the emotional state might be, when you're able to approach it from this place of like awe. I just heard awe. That's really powerful. Like Moon Pluto is like such intense depth of emotional understanding of the world, and just like powerful desire, powerful experiencing in a physical body. Like it can be so overwhelming, the energy that wants to come through these two planets meeting each other. The moon is the fastest moving planet, or the fastest moving body in our solar system, and then Pluto being the slowest. Like these two coming together, and it's like bam, like taking that fast and just like forcing it into this place of like intense depth. And I think like it can be something that creates a lot of like whirlwind dramas. It can create a lot of polarization, and it just creates just kind of complete overwhelm as well. And so I feel like that's something that's continuing to transform in your emotional body at this time. Maybe you're like moving through cycles of that showing up again, and like needing to kind of face it in a new way each time, with more openness, with more love every single time that comes up. Because I think we can easily get into this place where you're like, oh, I've done so much growth, like why is this so overwhelming to me? Like why am I still not having a handle on my emotions or stuff or something? And this card is really saying that even that way of thinking or approaching our emotional body is part of duality. Like to think that we'll never be in an overwhelmed state if we reach a certain level of like peace is not, that's then negating some part of us, right? So I think that this is just saying the growth is like reaching this place of like having peace within the whirlwind. Like you're reaching a place of not being thrown off course when you have big emotions coming through, where you're able to find a clear point where you're releasing, you're surrendering to the divine, even. You're like surrendering to your own wisdom, your own knowing, the things that you have learned already and you're very skilled at, clearly from what you've learned in terms of listening to your emotional body, of having community too. I'm just like seeing on the Empress card here, it's like this is a whole family here. Like they've created this safe haven. Like you have really started to cultivate such a beautiful, like, safe place for those big feelings and just, yeah, like the powerful life experiences to be held in safe ways. And I mean, this feels like that too with the Six of Cups. Like it just feels like this safety and honoring of that experience. And so I think like the more, since you have that already, it's like allowing the transformative intensity to have a home where it feels okay to come through. And sometimes I think we forget that when we start doing work and we feel like to feel better, or like giving ourselves the space to feel more safe, sometimes that can be when the more deep, intense feelings come up that are like way bigger than anything we've ever had before, because we finally are giving it the room to kind of surface, to like rise to the surface. And that's Pluto in itself, because Pluto stories and Pluto with the moon, it's this way that if it depends, like if we grew up in environments where our emotions were kind of shamed, or we're like put in this place where it doesn't feel safe, that can mean Pluto for early childhood, because the moon is our early childhood, could be this kind of overwhelming, overpowering, controlling force that keeps us shut in, that keeps us, our emotions like being bottled up and pushed down further and further. And then it takes us, when we're older, to come into right relationship with our emotional body and to actually like express appreciation, to release a lot of that shame, to start allowing those things to kind of bubble up to the surface again. So Pluto is a planet about uncovering. And so I think what this might be pointing to is like that some of that uncovering is coming through, and it might be a little bit intense because of where you're at in your journey, where it feels like I've done so much work, like why is this so freaking like big, you know? And it's just furthering this place of acceptance is what it feels like to me. Like this place of, I just like non-duality, where you're not pitting your emotional body against your mental body, where you're not thinking that you should be somewhere different in the moment. It's like complete surrender and acceptance is what I'm getting from this. That is what is transforming truly, where you're not in a place of judgment of self, you're not in a placement of judgment of your emotional body. You've created this safe space. Like that is the whole reason why these like deeper rooted things are coming to the surface. So that's really powerful. All right, the third question here for these cards was what does your emotional body need from you right now? So we have the Lovers, and the Two of Wands. I love this. I think that the Lovers to me is reflecting what I'm saying here. It's like falling in love again with your emotional body, with the experience of having emotions. There's like this feeling like of these birds flying, like needing to be on the same side, to remember you're on the same page. Like our emotions are not disconnected from our path. They actually are helping lead us in this direction. And with this like Two of Wands, I'm just seeing like they're pointing you, like it is this again, this is so much integration. Like your emotional body wants you so badly to integrate it into your path. To not make it this compartmentalized thing where like I have to deal with my emotions, so I'm like having to step away from other parts of life, or like that thinking that your emotions aren't actually part of your like every single aspect of who you are, and also especially your spiritual journey. Like they're flying with you here, you know, like they're actually so much a part of how you experience your intuition, like how you understand where you're going in life, like the partnerships that you want to be in, all of it, you know. Like we cannot rightly move in proper direction in our life unless we're fully offering ourselves deep compassion and deep awareness around our emotional body and what it's trying to tell us, because it is so wise. Our emotions are literally the best guide to give us this like knowing moment to moment of how we feel and how we're experiencing the world as we see it on this other like kind of psychic level, because it's telling us these through our physical body, because our emotions like move through our body. And so I think like you've done a lot of that work. Like this, to me, it feels like you understand at least like that your emotions are something that are experienced through the body. They're not these kind of like amorphous things that are separate from you, but they do live like, you know, within the nervous system, and they move through our physical body. And like I feel like you're pretty good at being in tune with it and understanding what different states kind of feel like to you. So I feel like this is really just saying, like, in terms of what your emotional body needs from you, it's like, embrace me as a lover, like embrace me as your partner in life, the one that is bringing you to your highest path, like the one that when we're aligned together, like anything is possible. Like please believe in that and please trust that. That really feels like what the message of these cards are telling me. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle the last part here, which is the what superpowers are your emotions? Is your emotional body offering you? Like, how are your emotions the superpower? So I'm gonna we'll see what wants to come out from here, and then I have an oracle deck as well. So for the collective watching pile 1, how are their emotions a superpower? Collective watching pile 1. We've got the Harmony card. I'll just put these over here. And reciprocity. So how are your emotions a superpower? You are on like such a path of knowing yourself incredibly deeply. The star here, like seeing with so much clarity your own dreams, to be able to actually bring them down into reality, into form through this Four of Pentacles here. I think you're like creating a really beautiful foundation for yourself through befriending your emotions, through completely like witnessing with love your emotions. There's a way that you're creating like a I just keep hearing like a sound, like a harmonic, an inner harmonic that is pulling down your dreams into reality. Like that's kind of the vibe of what I'm getting here, and allowing you to, like the reciprocity card coming through, like to finally be in this place where giving feels like a natural state. And that feels very aligned with the star card here, which I've always loved the star card just for this fact of like that giving and receiving are this endless flow, and there's like no worry about the end of the flow coming to an end. There's just this deep trust, and being able to befriend, to be partners with your emotional body is really pulling you into this state of so much mutual benefit with the entire world around you, that it is like your dreams are just kind of like flowing in, because you're not having this greater resistance to the feelings that are coming up. You're not approaching them from this way of like they're my enemy. You actually have a home. Like there's a home for them here, and that is like giving them the opportunity to help guide you and to help ground your dreams into reality here. Oh, I love this, like these two cards together too. Like look at that. This person, like when they choose to surrender, they literally just fall into the waters of the star. Like how beautiful is that? And this Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands, like I feel like also being so in touch with your emotional body is literally like making you really psychic. It's like bringing those natural talents fully online. Like her crown is just like totally tapped in here, and there's so much confidence. Like I think that's the other part too. It's like, wow, when we can really hold the intensity of our emotional states, it brings a level of confidence that is unlike anything else, I feel, and to a level of self-empowerment. Pluto and the moon together, it is this journey of becoming physically embodied in such a powerful way. But the key to it is to be able to learn how to hold it, how to hold that power with grace and with love, and to not let it be this distorted power, like a power over other people, needs to manipulate in order to get needs met, having to control others in order to feel safe, or like needing to have like feeling comfortable only when there's a lot of dramatic events going on around us. So I feel like the Queen of Wands is so much like that deeply intuitive psychic part of the Moon Pluto archetype, when we are fully accepting, fully just allowing our emotional body to speak through us, to speak to us, but we're not like we're not like, that's all information that we're taking in. It's the information we're allowing to flow through us, but it's not like, it is guiding our actions, but not from a place of urgency, like not from a place of revenge, not from a place of lack or from scarcity. It's like this depth of confidence because you are holding yourself in this place of safety, in this place of emotional safety. And it becomes then this like tapped in power of having this greater knowledge of yourself, of others, of the universe, that is unmatched, truly. And in that way where there's beauty, there is that harmony, but it's like rooted and it is unshakable and like a little terrifying at the same time to others, perhaps, who maybe are not in this space. But at the same time, they know like you would like lovingly, it's kind of like when the most loving thing to do is to hold someone in sort of a tough love thing. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. But in like such a depth of compassion where it's like you can just look at someone with like the most open-hearted, loving, like outpouring towards them, and they'll just be like shaken and know like, okay, like I think I get it. I need to like, you know, I understand what you're saying, like literally just through how you're looking at me right now. So wow, yeah, this is quite the superpower, I would say. And so beautiful, like just to have the star here, like centering this whole reading. Like, I think that there is this journey that you are on or have been on with your emotional body that is pulling you into this place where the manifestation of your desires is so ease-filled because there's no distortion anymore, which it takes a long time to get to that place because it requires us having this depth of relationship to our physical and emotional body. Like the moon is also our physical body. So it's hard to even separate like physical and emotional anymore. Like they're so intertwined and influencing of one another. So when we learn how to honor both of those things, there's like, you're not so caught up in like the things that I really want most for myself are like from these maybe conditionings that I've had imprinted on me, or stuff that isn't truly aligned with your highest good, right? Like I think the way that you've been engaging with your emotional body is just like bringing you to this place of a full a clarity in your desire to the point that it's like it is just like kind of all you have to do is surrender, and there you are, like you're in it, right? And like almost to this place too where I feel when you do open your heart, like even if you're not at the place that you want to be, it's so easy for you to see the miracles around you, like to see before they've even happened, to see like the fruits of your labor, to see the fruits of your life and of this journey like so present, even if like the actual physical manifestations of what you are wanting are not here. Like that is just, it's not hard for you to hold that and to be in the like harmonic of it, I guess, the frequency of it, in any given moment, because you are kind of like embodying this star energy through how much patience and love you're holding yourself in at this time. So whoa, that's really beautiful. I think I'm going to end it on that. I love that. Thank you so much for those who watched this reading today and for sharing your energy, and to the moon and Pluto for coming through. And yeah, I hope I see you in another reading. Feel free to subscribe if you like this channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hello, group 2. Y'all chose the teardrop labradorite, which I'll set over here for now. And I have this deck of cards to start with. Today we're looking at how are your emotions a superpower. And I pre-drew all these because it was going to be a lot today. That's why there's only 2 piles, because it just felt like there were 2 collectives that wanted to come forward, and I wanted to like offer a bit more extended, dive into this Moon Pluto energy. So these are for the questions of what's your relationship with your emotions at this time, what's transforming in your emotional life, and what does your emotional body need from you right now. So we'll do that first, and then look at how your emotions are a superpower after that, which I'll be shuffling those cards on screen. So first, for the what is your current relationship to your emotions, we have the Take a Hike card. We have I Want to Flow with You. We have the 3 of Stones, or the 3 of Pentacles. And the 4 of Vessels, or the 4 of Cups. So we'll just start with these. So in terms of this is how your relationship is currently with your emotions, or with your emotional body. And I get this feeling that you are trying different tools. Like this Take a Hike is my like go out in nature, like take a breath kind of card. But it also to me kind of is making me think maybe you're swinging between like, I really want to caretake for my emotions, and also I really wish they would just like leave me alone, like go take a hike, right? And like the same with the I Want to Flow with You. It's like there is this deep desire to have a relationship with your emotional body that feels nourishing, and that feels like it's not your enemy, that your emotions aren't your enemy, because it looks like you're like been in this really overwhelmed place, or overwhelming place. And I think it's like you've kind of sunk down to the bottom here, and it almost like with these feet kind of above of other people, there could be kind of a confusion between what's yours and what's others. Just feeling kind of really in this, like in the dark even too. Moon Pluto energy can be very messy, very messy, dramatic emotional life, and not without reason. Like Pluto is really trying to bring us back into the shadows so that we can fully see ourselves. And it's really an initiatory process, is what Pluto is bringing us through. But it takes a lot of patience, and it takes so much care and love, and just time, and to not give up as we're going on ourselves, and just on the fact that we are transforming. And with the 3 of Stones, it's like, again, pointing to this, like, I think you want to be in cooperation with your emotional body. Like, there's this knowing too. I'm just seeing like this book, right? Like you're trying to learn yourself. You're trying to like engage with your own emotional body in these ways that feel more grounded, like the earth card here, like getting back into nature of maybe you're just starting to come into this understanding that your emotions aren't this like separate thing from you, but they actually do move inside of your physical body. And in that sense, it's becoming this kind of like, whoa, yeah, I want to be more present with that, or like it's like maybe you're seeing negative side effects from the way that you've held emotions in the past or repressed them. And so it's causing like distress in the body, or just like not feeling connected to the body. This Four of Vessels card that feels kind of this like disconnected, floating in the abyss sort of feeling with emotions. And so I think maybe you're in this place of like, how do I do this? Or like, I want this, you know, like I want to feel more connected. I want not to feel like I'm stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Like I need better tools, or like I am getting the tools to start doing that, and that's really great. Yeah, I think that this is giving me like practice. Like you're starting to practice how to have more emotional presence. And that's really wonderful. And it can be like scary at first, because beginning to traverse in that those realms, especially if we're someone who, when we experience large emotions coming through, like those like sort of riptide energies of huge emotional states that we tend to want to push away from us, or say like that doesn't belong to me, like, or I'm not supposed to feel those things. It can be really scary when we're first taking it on as like recognizing, no, this is me, like this is an important message wanting to flow through me. And I know it feels like in this moment, I literally, like, it's life or death, you know, like Pluto is that life or death. Like, and so with Pluto being connected then to the moon, that is our emotional body, that's our physical body. I mean, it is our emotions, and especially if we've experienced trauma, which I think everyone to some degree has. There, you know, everyone, you can have your own definition of it, but for me, I see it as we've all gone through events in our life that have been traumatic to some degree, and that often depends on how we were held within that situation, you know, the way that we were able to process that through our physical body and be held in it, or not, where it stays stuck, right? So I think it can be incredibly terrifying when we're first approaching this work of like wanting to feel more comfortable with our different emotional states, because it does feel like life or death. So take a breath, everyone. Like, I'm honoring that for you and letting you know that you're not wrong, you're not bad if you are wanting to push your emotions away because they're way too scary. Like, that is literally a survival tactic, and it's okay. Like, we can't just jump into this work and be like, I'm all in, right? Like, I'm gonna feel everything. Oh no, 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 no. Like, that is like literally a recipe for disaster in your life. And it's so deeply unkind to do that. So wherever you're at, like, that's where you're supposed to be. And every day, you know, even just once a week, like little by little, if you are allowing a little bit more feeling to come through, and just like seeing how it settles in your body, like not trying to shock yourself, right? Like not trying to enter into this place of complete dysregulation, but learning how to bit by bit hold a little bit more each time, and have your resources, like being out in nature, like being with someone you trust to be able to hold things with you, who know how to be emotionally present. I mean, even just beginning this work, sometimes it's pretty wild just trying to figure out who those people can even be in our lives. Because if we have, for long periods of time, been in these states of emotional chaos, Moon Pluto can be just pure, straight up emotional chaos, to be real. Like, we tend to like sort of surround ourselves with people who reflect that back to us too. And so it can be difficult to find that like loving, stable person. Like, maybe we need to look at outside sources like a therapist or something at that point. So just having your anchors, having those people, and the the different tools that are helping you through that is really good. And I think that you are doing that. And I feel like there is such a deep desire, like I said at the beginning, like to be in a better, or just a more loving place with your emotions, and not always wanting to like feel like you're gonna, like, if you try to embrace them, then you're gonna shut down, right? Like to move away from that place to one where it feels safer, where it feels like there's more room for you to breathe, where you can actually come up to the surface a little bit and like have, like, be receptive to your emotional states and not feel like pressed down to the bottom of the ocean while that's happening. So if that's resonating, as kind of where you are in your journey, or where you've been at even, let's look at then stick around. What's transforming here? Like, all right, so the next question is just what's transforming in your emotional life. So we have the Wheel of Fortune coming out with change, and this conditioning card, which is the Devil card in the Osho deck. Okay. Let me just check. So, yeah, like what's transforming? You have like some deep ways that you have been conditioned emotionally in your emotional life, in your emotional body. You are experiencing a lot of change around that. Like things are, the wheel is turning here, right? You're actually maybe finding some results that are reminding you of who you are. You know, when we actually start to go through these big emotional shifts, it really starts to bring us into this greater understanding of ourselves that can be quite shocking, quite maybe even destabilizing in themselves. And this is also part of the Pluto journey. Pluto is trying to return us back to our power. And with the moon, that is our emotional power. That is our emotional resonance. That is us, right? And like, I think it's amazing, this image of just like this lion who is raised with sheep, right? It has no idea that it's a lion, and then gets brought to the river and shown its reflection. It's like, oh, wow, I'm a lion. Like, holy shit. And so I think maybe you are starting to like experience that change where you're actually seeing yourself way more clearly. And that can be both terrifying and liberating in the same moment. So that's truly transforming for you. And I think like hold on, like, or not hold on. What can I say? I love that there's take a hike and I want to flow with you here, actually, like in terms of where you're at, because it gives me the sense that like you're open to flowing through the changes that are happening, but at the same time, you know how to be grounded, or you're like learning the things that really help you to stay stable as like these huge shifts are going on, because you really need that, I think, because there's a ton of transformation happening right now. And learning to detach also, like the Devil card to me is so much like learning healthy detachment. And when we learn that, like, I think it can be super confusing with our emotions, because we need people are it's like this thing, like, you need to process your emotions, like you need to feel your feelings, you need to do this and that, like learn what's yours and what's not yours, like all of these kind of things that just like get poured out. But that's like, if you don't have an actual person to help guide you to understand what that means, and to like, there's that. And then there's like, we need to be, not become our emotions or let them overwhelm us, blah blah blah. There's a lot to sort through. And so I think for me, this Devil card is like, it's the healthy detachment. And all that means is like, okay, having a huge, massive emotional state coming through us, right? If in that moment, like we're allowing it to flow through, like we're not stopping the pain, you're not stopping the wildness. Like Pluto energy is truly like the wilderness. It is like our primal reactive instincts. it's just untamed, right? So like thinking of that coming through our literal like physical body and through our emotions, that is really intense. And the moon is also our most intimate relationship. So like it can get very messy, okay? So with the devil coming through, this is like saying to me what part of what's changing here, part of what's transforming is that you're learning how to have healthy detachment when that level of intensity is rising within you, that like yes, it can, you can be present with it, and you kind of are able to tap into that lion version of you who is kind of like your soul's essence, right? If you know about internal family systems or parts work at all, what they call the like the self with a capital S is kind of what I'm getting here. Like you're learning this way of like when you're in those giant emotional states, like what's transforming is, oh my God, there's actually this like essence, this like lion part of me that I am able to tap into, and that is offering compassion in that moment to the huge emotions. It's offering curiosity, it's offering this sense of care, like that I can witness myself having that, but I'm not, it's not me, it's not all me. Like yes, that emotion coming through is, it's so important, relevant information, but it's not the essence of who you are, right? Like it's a part of your experience here that you're going through, but it's not like your identity. And I think with the devil, like so many times, like we can get super attached to our emotional states, like being I mean, I'll just even speak from my own experience, like being so stuck in these like decades of like depression and feeling like I don't understand who I would be without having like, without being in such emotional turmoil, right? Like who am I even without that? And it can be really discombobulating when you're starting to try to allow different emotions in, like peace or like feelings of joy or happiness or just like comfort and ease or safety in relationship. I mean, these are huge emotions also. And if we're only in this state of like such overwhelm of like painful emotions, which it feels like this person is just like held down by kind of the weight of the world and the weight of other people, like that it's almost like it changes your entire personality. So I'm just honoring that journey too, and what is transforming, because it can be pretty like overwhelming in itself. Just that process of when we learn how to fully work with our emotional body. And I don't know if you have this like Moon Pluto aspects in your birth chart, but it might be worth looking into to see if that is something that you hold, because it's such a significant journey for anyone who has that in their chart of understanding and honoring your emotional body in this way where you can be like lovingly detached from it and transformed by it and brought to your power through it. I mean, it's such a beautiful, like, significant part of your experience of a soul in this lifetime to hold this archetype, like this combination in your chart. And it is not easy in any way. And it's really, it can be terrifying, you know, like it just really, there's a lot there. And Pluto being this like intensely powerful force, like sometimes that can also be like that force being inflicted upon our bodies, upon like emotional abuse, all sorts of things. So I just like, this is big. This isn't just like, yeah, like I'm learning, I want to be better about my emotions because I want to be happy. This is like, you, I feel like tired of being in this place of feeling at the bottom of the ocean, you know? And like, I don't blame you, and I really commend you for doing the work that you're beginning to do, and to let you know that things are transforming, and like it might be scary, and you might be in this place of like when you start deconditioning, that literally your personality is changing, and that's terrifying in itself too. But it's really part of the process, and I just like invite you to continue to letting yourself unfold and unravel, and like let that whatever has been like in the compost, right, of you like in this dark place, to just like start to let whatever wants to come up and to like be sprouted through, to like let it come out, because it can be so magical and you just never know like what the magic is there. So I'm actually really curious to get to what your superpower is, because oh my god. Okay, but let me get to the next question, which was how is your emotional body, or what does your emotional body need from you right now? So with that, we have the Daughter of Swords coming through, and also the Son of Pentacles. So actually, I think I was going to do this. I think there's, so this is the Page of Swords in this deck, and then the Knight of Pentacles. So there's, with the Knight of Pentacles, it's like, please keep doing what you're doing. Like the slow and steady, you know, approach. I keep hearing trust with this card. Maybe just trust the emotions that are coming through. Also, I'm thinking about like learning the difference between, or like the difference and the connection between thoughts and emotions, and to start to pay attention to that. That might really help you. So in terms of, yeah, like what your emotional body's needing from you, it's really needing you to track what thoughts cause what emotions. So if you suddenly are feeling like you were doing okay throughout your day, and then all of a sudden you have this like, God, why do I feel so awful, or like really angry right now, or super sad, maybe when that happens, to make a point to like move backwards, like what was the thing that activated me into that state, and just like maybe you write it down, or you just keep track of it, just like pattern mapping, right? It's like mapping out the thoughts that you're having that cause these reactions within you, and then taking the loving steps that you need to take. And I want to be real, because like we might know very clearly the things that activate us all the time, but we don't think that we deserve to separate ourselves from those things. Like we think that we have to continue putting ourselves in these states, or taking in information, taking in other people in our lives that continue to put us in this place. And it's not true, okay? Like you do not have to do that. And it's actually very significant and part of healing to learn that you deeply deserve to separate yourself from that, and to give yourself the space and the love and the care to become more physically well, because our emotions impact so deeply our physical body. Like to get to a place of feeling stable, and where you're able to take in information in ways that make you feel like you have security. Like even if something rocks you a little bit, it does improve over time. And that's the whole point of like going through this process and learning these tools, and like going through a healing process, is because you get better and better at holding these intense like parts of life, because life is freaking hard, and it's like a lot of things being thrown at us at once. So to me, this is like, you are allowed to separate yourself from the things that trigger you, okay? Like point blank, flat out, like, and to do it as much as you need, whatever that means to you, and to not feel bad about that, to know that it's part of your healing, to know that it's really bringing you then to the place where you can actually show up in the world from your most like true essence, to from this place, right? Like this more unattached like place of compassion, where you're able to see more clearly, you're able to act with integrity, all of these things. So that feels so important, and like a big thing that your emotional body is really like calling forward through this is like, you do not like being in a state where you're constantly being like re-triggered, or pulled back into this like the depths essentially of your emotional overwhelm over and over and over again. It's just like re-traumatization, right? You're not going to get anywhere. So being super vigilant about that with yourself, and honoring the fact that like you need a freaking break, you know, and whatever time period that means for you. I think it's just like that. This is just the acknowledgement and the permission, perhaps, if you need the permission, like your emotional body is like, here's my permission slip to you, please like step away, you know. Like especially if you have full awareness already of what those things are, but you're still putting yourself in the line of fire essentially. I think like this is sort of that message of like, please just we need to be stronger, you know, like there needs to be a level of strength of self, because this is big time that you're going through, like these huge shifts with this Wheel of Fortune and the conditioning card. Like this is massive, and it's not work either that we can often do when we have a lot of outside inputs coming in, and when we have a lot of just like, yeah, chaotic noise from other people, or like people telling us what to do or who we are, or even, yeah, people around us who like have known us when we're in this state continually for long periods of our life, and just like don't know the healing work, cannot come with us on that journey. So yeah, like please honor yourself and your capacity, and be more clear of like, I deserve to feel better, you know? Like that you really do. Like you deserve to have a fulfilling and beautiful life, that your emotions can be your guide and your companion, and this like beautiful spiritual like navigator of your life. So much is possible here for you, and I want you to get to that place. And I just like, I know your emotions are like, please be gentle with me. Like your emotional body really needs you to be gentle with you. So, okay. I'm gonna get to the last question now, which is how are your emotions the superpower? So we're gonna shuffle a little bit on screen here. So how are the collective for watching pile 2 here? How are their emotions part of their superpower? I want to get one more card. Okay. Hmm. This feels really beautiful to come through as how your emotions are a superpower. I feel like you are becoming like you are the art. I don't know, like you're embodying this creative, sorry, I'm trying to take this all in. I feel like you're a masterpiece. You're becoming your own masterpiece. And this is becoming a superpower because it's influencing like every single part of your life here. And, you know, we have the Four of Swords with truce here and these like meeting in the middle. Like you have because you've gone through these journeys, and this is what Pluto does to us. It is like that shaping over long periods of time. It's literally evolution because the process it's pulling us through is so deep and so intense that we're completely transfigured by the end of it. And it's so incredible that the kintsugi card's coming out. For those who don't know that word, it's this art, Japanese art, where when a piece of pottery is broken, they put it back together with like gold, and it actually makes a piece stronger. So, and that's kind of why I'm getting this sense of like what your emotional body and your emotional life, your emotional journey, why it's a superpower is because it's literally turning you into this masterpiece, like into this work of art that can be such a radiant force of compassion towards others, and like creative genius is what I feel like having such rich depth of experience that you're bringing into whatever your creative passion may be. It feels connected to some kind of creativity, which can be so many different things. And like yeah, like as you have nourished yourself or in this path, like you're learning how to really truly nourish yourself and your emotional body, it is then what helps you nourish others and nourish your entire community, because you're coming at it right from that place of we're all interconnected. What I do for myself is what reflects out towards others, and how others then are able to experience the gifts of what I have sown in my journey, right? This card is also speaks about meditation and being able to enter these states of having a sense of peace in the mind, of like rest in your mind, where having differing points of view or perspective don't throw you into places of disorganization or of disharmony, where it's like you can see it all. I feel like you are like, you see life. It's like this, your superpower part of it is like unafraid to see life as it is, which is massive. And it's like in that like unwavering, unshaking ability to see truth, to see many different truths at once. You're also like holding this like deep loyalty to love, a loyalty to being present with others from a place of deep love, of understanding that we are all multidimensional beings, that we are very complex, especially when it comes to our emotional lives. Like you're becoming through this journey such a powerhouse in understanding what is possible emotionally, and why it impacts so deeply all of our connections, especially our most intimate ones. And that is becoming this like power that you have in your relationships to really steer people back to their own truth and back to their own power too. It is like this ripple effect that's happening here, or that can be. Like this is like how this process, like where it's leading you to essentially. So like the more that you are working with your emotional body in the ways that we spoke of so far, like in this reading, it is really like bringing you to this place of such beautiful artistic mastery, and where your emotions are just like such fuel and like inspiration to all that you're creating in this world. Like, and in a way that it is changing other people's perspective and other people's relationships to their physical body and to their emotional bodies as well. And that's so powerful and so gorgeous. I just feel like this image, I love this for nourishment. If it's like every single different type of emotion, it's all like pouring into you, this seed, and you've learned like how to take it all in and then like let it out, like let that growth just like completely be free, you know? Like there is this freedom from that state that you just felt maybe drowned in, and now it's like you're flying, like you've learned how to fly, and through your creations, like you're so strong. There's so much strength and power in your expression, and in just your physical embodiment of who you are, because of the journey that you've been on through your emotional body. Yeah. And you're flowing. You're flying and you're flowing. I feel like that is part, like that's your superpower. It's like learning how to get to that place, and you are really moving into uncharted territory here, but with like so much strength and just like a fearlessness too, because you have your tools, and like you know when to rest, when to separate yourself, you know when to put up the shield, you know when to open your heart wide open. Like you have so much awareness that it's becoming this way where like you are the powerful navigator of all of the different places that you're going in your life, and you're like creating like such a path of like masterful beautiful self-expression that is so unique and touches people, like really touches them in a way that they too become transformed, and feel supported on this journey too. So that's like super incredible. I love this. I think I'm gonna end the reading here. I really hope that this offered some like deep witnessing and deep just like holding through this, because I know Moon Pluto is just like it's big, it's a lot, and wherever you are on this, I hope that you are giving yourself a lot of grace and a lot of love at this time. My heart is with you, and that's all really. Thank you to Moon and Pluto for coming through. And if you liked this reading, I would love for you to subscribe to be able to get more. And you can check out my offerings if like this felt supportive and you actually want like a one-on-one kind of session with me. If that feels like it would be good, I really would love to support you wherever you're at. I have a variety of different offerings that you can find on my website, cocreativeastrology.com, and it's all in the description box. So yeah, group 2, sending a lot of love and care towards you at this time. I just want to like wrap you in a fuzzy blanket and like give you some love. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you in another reading. Okay, much love. Bye.